Gilbert. What another guy didn't another guy start? Garrett Gilbert, Andy Dalton. Look, Jared's like, man, I might just have to, hey, Steven, Jerry Jr., Sean, I just might have to bite this bullet. Because, Skip, I think the thing is that what Jerry is seeing, the price that he wanted is not going to be there. So even in a year in which the cap is going to come down, the number for the quarterback is not going to come down. They say if you want to see what a person is really worth, let him hit the free agent market. And Jerry knows if Dak hits the free agent market, Skip, it's over. He'll lose a bidding war. And that's why you do everything you possibly can to prevent guys from hitting the market. Because if they hit the market, somebody's gonna bid a king's ransom for him, and it's gonna put you in a bind where you can't sign him. So for me, I've always thought Dak had the leverage for the simple fact, and now he has even more leverage because guess what? Where he was hoping they continue to lose and they'd be in the top 5 and he could get a quarterback. Now they're all the way, they might be, 9, 10, or even 11, and the quarterback that you possibly thought they might could get one of is not going to be there when they're picking. So they're up against it. And Jerry knows, Skip, even if you franchise Dak at $38 million, Steven said last year you want to keep the quarterback around 14% of your cap. Well, if you give Dak 37.7, basically $38 million, that's 22% of your cap. That's 8% more than projections said you should give a quarterback. But you only got yourself to blame. You had years and years to get this done. And you chose to keep punting the ball, kept betting against Dak. And now it's going to come due, Skip. They're going to have to pay Dak. And he's right. Dak has the leverage because Jerry just saw what happened when Dak wasn't in there. They lost, and they look bad in doing it.
Okay, I interpreted these comments from Jerry Jones very, very differently than you did. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed at Jerry because this was vintage Jerry Jones.
Of course.
This was classic PR spin from Jerry because bad blood lingers between Jerry and Dak and the agent. Okay, it got do not invite him bad at the end of the negotiation before it had to be broken off.
And Todd France is still his agent.
He is still his agent. So to me, this was classic Jerry trying to mend the fence before he goes back to trying to rope the prize steer, who is Dak Prescott. And he is a prize steer. I got that. But I don't think Jerry believes that Dak has any more leverage than he had the first time around. And what made me laugh about this was he raves and raves about how valuable Dak is. I don't know how you could have any more leverage. His evolution as an NFL quarterback has been nothing short of a perfect picture. Really? I don't know about the perfect picture. That's why he said, I offered Dak all that money to begin with, all that money. So I don't know what the reports are, 35,
the report said 34 and a half. I read 34 and a half is what they got to.
I don't know what to believe because I've seen higher marks of that, higher speculation about how much was offered. But whatever, it's somewhere in the mid-30s. I believe that Dak and his agent wanted somewhere in the low 40s because they saw what was coming from both my homeboy and Deshaun. And they stood firm, and Jerry dug in, as he always does in most negotiations, except with stars. And this is the first star negotiation where he didn't cave in. He dug in. He said, no, that's too rich for even my blood. I've overpaid too many of my stars. I can't overpay my quarterback because that's the one you can't overcome. See Eagles, see Rams. Okay. So I laughed at this because he's basically saying, let's get back to the table with some good spirit here in this. Let's revive our good spirit in this negotiation because he said the issue is how do you come together? And that's no stranger to me. I've been doing that my whole life. He's a deal maker. That's what he does for a living. He makes deals. And he would like to believe that he often gets the better of the deal.
Of course.
I'm not sure it's all about years. There's so much speculation. Dak wants 4, Jerry wants 5. But in the end, it's about dollars. That's what it's about. Okay, so let's talk about leverage, shall we? You can argue that because the cap is going to plunge, that Jerry can just say, hey, I don't have it right now. So don't tell me that's not leverage. I agree with your draft pick idea. That would have been real advantage Jerry Jones if you're up there in the top 3 and you got a chance, a shot at Justin Fields or whoever, or maybe even who knows what could happen. Okay, now let's talk about leverage. I'm going to be completely objective, and I need you to respond to this and tell me where I'm wrong or right on this. I see Dak having no leverage because he is, and this is just a fact. I've been his biggest fan. I was a huge fan of Dak Prescott when he played at Mississippi State. You can check the tapes on the other network.
Okay.
I raved about him at Mississippi State. That was my favorite team that year in college, as they rose all the way, briefly, to the top. They were number one for about a week until they went to Tuscaloosa. Okay, I got it. Think about this.
Okay.
Dak Prescott, in his last 17 starts for the Dallas Cowboys, 6-11. Is that leverage? I don't think so.
No.
What happened to start the year? If they had not stolen the Atlanta game after being down 29-10 at halftime, Dak Prescott would have started off the year 0-4, and he would have fallen behind 17-3 at home to the Giants before he got hurt.
Right.
Okay, help me out. So he was on his way to maybe being even 0-5 to start the year. Is that leverage?
That's not leverage, but what you told me, Dak said was Skip. When I heard you talking, you said it was the defense. You said it was Rod Marinelli and Jason
I
Garrett.
got it, but what do you always come back at me with?
Yeah.
Dallas get the ball?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
they got the ball.
Yes.
Okay, what did we see last year? I don't want to beat this because it's a way dead horse from last year, but what did we see Dak do on offense last year? He did get the ball in these road games. At New Orleans, the offense scored 10. At New England, the offense scored 9. At Philly, in the game of the year, do or die, sink or swim, make or break, 9 points. Okay, 10, 9, and 9. And remember what happened at home against Green Bay last year? They fell behind 31-3. Did Dak get the football a few times? Yeah, he did. At Jets, they fell behind 21-3. You're rooting yourself hoarse up in Denver for the Jets to win that game, and they hung on and won it 24-22. And then Buffalo on Thanksgiving, it was almost as embarrassing as the Washington game was this year on Thanksgiving because they fell behind 26-7. And then at Chicago on that Thursday night, remember Troy Aikman up in the booth? He's just saying, oh my God, you know, they've hit bottom this time. Well, they fell behind 24-7 to the Bears, to Mitchell Trubisky's Bears.
The question is, Skip, if you let Dak go, are you ready? Or do you believe if they let Dak go, are they going to rebuild, or they going full steam ahead?
Okay, I got it, and it's a great question, and I agree. It's like you're stuck.
Yes.
Just the way the Eagles and Rams are stuck in different ways. But remember, I'm not advocating for Andy Dalton here, but just remember, but just by comparison, Andy Dalton went 4-5 as a starter, and if I give him the Giants as a win, which I'm not giving him because he closed it and made the 2 throws that set up the walk-off.
Do you believe Andy Dalton could have come from behind 17-3?
No,
like
because he can't. And I've said it again. Andy Dalton is not Dak Prescott. He's pretty good. I thought he played pretty well in the second half against the Giants up there on Sunday, but my coach didn't throw the red flag, and that's the end of that deal.
Right, and Andy Dalton said he wanted to be a free agent. Say he might want to be a starter.
And he might be right about that. Somebody might just say, you know what? He's pretty good. He knows how to play. We can sort of trust him to.
Yeah, he might be a bridge.
Yeah, he might be a bridge for somebody. But my point is that it's hard to sell what Dak did for his last 17 starts. It's hard. I don't think he has any more leverage.
So what are we going to do about those 2 divisions? What are we going to do about the 13-3? What are we going to do about Offensive Rookie of the Year? What are we going to do about those 2 Pro Bowls? Do those not factor in?
Well, sure they do.
Okay.
But of late, again, maybe as you say, it's just a bad football team going south and it sort of dragged the quarterback down with them. But what have you always told me? Empty calorie yards.
Yes.
Well, Dak's become the master of the empty calorie. Am I right?
I know another guy did that too, but you ain't saying anything about that. But that's not here nor there. You know.
I don't know.
In Central Florida.
Central Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the GOAT?
Yeah.
Well, he is the GOAT.
He the empty calorie king.
And Pro Football Focus says he was the second best quarterback in pro football, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes here on this show.
But anyway, Skip, I just think the thing is, although Jerry, we know Jerry says a lot of things and to get people attention and talk about it. Jerry doesn't believe that Dak has the leverage. But I do believe Dak has the leverage because Jerry, Skip, this is the second year in a row they've missed the playoffs now. Now, they look bad this year. Now, think about what's affecting Jerry is that networks are now flexing them out. Mm-hmm. See, you know what?
I agree.
Jerry can deal with a lot of things, Skip, but Jerry likes being on TV. And they flexed them out.
Yep.
And say, we'd rather see Cleveland and Giants over the Cowboys?
I just think we're headed for a second tag.
Yes, I agree.
What is it, 38?
$38 million.
Okay, $38 million. It's a lot of money.
Yes.
What'd you say, 20-some% of the cap?
22%.
22% of the cap. I'm afraid that's where we're headed, and Jerry's going to sit back and say, show me. I need to see more.